Awesome. So good morning. Hey, I mentioned this the first service, but I'm still nervous for Priv up there. I think he's going to fall and crack his head open. Are you guys like thinking the same thing I am? So, yeah, and hey, I want to go ahead and explain who's this guy to my right and your left. This is Darren Weiss, and I'm going to let him talk in just a minute, but I got to tell you real quick, for many of you, you've been coming to Kensington for a while, and you know for the past year, we have talked about, we've dreamed of helping a church planter launch another church, an independent church plant in Macomb County. Well, this is the guy. We found him. And so Darren Weiss, he's actually the chief operating officer at Grace Centers of Hope here in Pontiac, and he is going to transport his family over here, and he's doing a great work. Now, many of you, just to be extra clear, a church plant is not a campus of Kensington. It is an independent, kind of its own deal. We believe that God has all different types of churches for all different types of people, and one of Kensington's goals is to support people. And so we put them on our stage, and we actually say to a lot of people, like, leave Kensington and go with him. And maybe you want to support him financially, maybe you want to go with him, maybe you're called, to his type of leadership. And so Vox Church over here in Chesterfield, Paradox Church in Warren, and a couple different churches, Stony Creek Community Church, we're all partnering together to launch a really healthy, cool church. So why don't you go ahead and tell us why you want to launch a church?
All right. Well, first, before I even get into that, I just want to thank Kensington Clinton Township so much. You specifically, this campus, for really bringing this dream to pass in my life. I have, for the last several years, just dreamed about planting a church. I'm very passionate about that. I believe that church planting is the God-ordained vessel by which God uses to reach people far from God. This is the method that he uses to do that. And I have dreamed about this, and I think that this is the first church plant that Kensington has really gotten behind, that actually has been spearheaded from a particular campus rather than, sort of headquarters Kensington. And so I thank you so much for getting behind it, and Chris certainly for his leadership. But I am planting this church because, my life was absolutely broken at one point. It's still broken in a number of areas, but at one point I was hopeless in this life, and I came to know Jesus Christ. And he absolutely transformed me from the inside out. And since that day, since Jesus came into my life in such a powerful way, I promised him that day that I would spend every single day for the rest of my life trying to serve him and reach people who didn't know him. And I have failed miserably at that, but I get up every day and I try to go at it again, motivated by his love for me. And I know that there's several people out there today who you too have experienced the grace of God in your life and feel called to reach people who are in the place that you once were. And so church planting is that vessel. The Apostle Paul, he would go into a major city, and he would plant churches all over it. And then as soon as he was done planting churches, he would set leadership up there, and he'd go on to another city because he wanted to reach that whole country for Jesus. And so we are really looking for today what I call gatherers, those people who you have this ministry mindset that you realize that you're a sent person, that Jesus has sent you into this world on a mission, and you want to go complete that and obtain that for which Jesus obtained you, right? And so we were looking for them to gather up with us on this mission. And then we're also looking for what I call bringers, those people that don't know God, who are still far from God, but want to bring people who are far from God on this mission with us. And so if you meet one of those criteria, you feel like God may be calling you to a mission like this, we'd love to have you be part of it. Chris and I actually picked today as the day to kind of introduce me, because at 4:30 p.m. today is going to be our first informational meeting about the new church plant, and that will be held in Macomb Township at a house. A friend that's actually part of the launch team already. And so if you want to find out more about everything, you can go to my blog, which is darrenweiss.com. And please be with us today at 4:30. You're invited, and you can learn a whole bunch more about church planning and what it is that we're doing. So.
Awesome. So let me say two things. The first one is he's going to be back to talk in person at the Welcome Center, right? So we have a Welcome Center in the lobby. He'll be there in between services if you want to just go up, ask him conversation, whatever, ask him all those questions. The second thing is that the one thing he didn't mention is that part of my leadership, I'm trying to provide spearheading like the financial donations too. If you want to make a financial donation, he's in the position to receive that as well, because here's what I believe. I believe that there are people who are, you resonate with church planting. Like that's your heartbeat. Like that excites you almost more than anything else, because God has given you this apostolic gift, this gift to take a hill, to seize, to move forward. And if you want to put, funds toward that, that's great. And then for some of you, you may even want to consider leaving and going and joining Darren permanently, but then maybe even temporarily. So maybe some of you, you're like, hey man, I want to do this as a mission for the next year. So you and your family are going to take your funds and give them, give that church your tithe, make sure that they launch well, give them your resources, volunteer for that church, and then maybe God will call you back here, maybe he won't. But some of you, I believe, will probably do that as well. And so I'm excited. I'm really excited for what God's going to do. And love this guy, by the way, and I think that you're going to love him too. So give Darren a really huge round of applause. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.